Hi there and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing a flip through of one of my journals with you, and I want to talk about some different ideas for making journals or mini books, and we're also going to do a little bit of fixing as it's an old one and I've taken it out of my mini book table. I have a huge table where you can take the top off and I store them all in there, and it needs a little bit of repairing, so we're going to be doing that too. But basically I called this at the time a big mini book because it's actually, these are A4. So it's not something that's tiny, it is quite large. But if you haven't made your own journal before or your own mini book, this is a very, very easy way to do it. So I hope it really inspires you. To start with, I want to do a little bit of fixing. I am going to tidy up these ribbons a little bit. They've got a little bit tatty. I've just realised there's two on each side. I used to get the Scarlet Lime kit. This is going back a long, long time ago. Maybe around 2005, 2006, 2007, that kind of time. It's a long time ago. And a lot of this has been made using those kits. I've noticed as well I've got a big scratch down the middle. I do have these photos saved, so I could actually print off another one. I'm also missing one of my flowers as well, so I'm going to make that at the end. Actually, I might do that now. One of these is coming off as well. I love these super big thickers. Now, making one of these, whether you want to call it a mini book or a journal, it's a really good way to use up your stash, using up your alphas. Here I have actually just cut some card and used alphabet stamps. That's really handy, a really good way. Right, so that is stuck on. This is bothering me. I've got literally a piece of scrap paper here. I'm thinking this might be too large. Let's give it a go. I was thinking of it fitting in. Actually, that could work. Let's squish it up a little bit. I'm after a brown ink to match the others. This could work. Let's ink those edges. That's a common theme I've done throughout this whole book, is inking up the edges. It's something I used to do all the time. I actually made this in 2009, so it's an old one. But I say it every time, go through your old stash. It's a really, really good way of finding inspiration. Right, I'm going to pop a little, I think I need like a tealy colour, don't I? This kind of colour. Let me have a look through my scraps and see what I can find. So I've gone through my scraps. I've got some choices. I've got a green. I've got like a bluey colour. And then I found this, which is some watercolours that I've done. I think actually that one will go better. I also found this. I love that. I'm just going to pop it in the basket next to my desk because I might want to use that next time. I'm thinking with some of this pink like that. Oh, I don't know if that's going to be large enough actually. And it doesn't really show out, does it? Show up. No, I don't think that's going to work. Let's try. The blue is quite pretty. And I'll keep that for another time. I think the blue is going to work best. I could have done with a slightly larger one. I think they're all about the same size. That's a shame. Right, let's ink this so that it matches. And the colour goes really well. This is something that I do actually need to do, is maybe go through some of my old journals, because they do end up getting a little bit on the tatty side. Pop that there, and then I've got this, which I already had, a little flower that was in my pot on my desk, and then we want something for the center, so I'm going to use, actually let's go for a slightly darker enamel dot there. It's not quite as good as it was before, but it's better than missing one of the flowers. There we go. It's like doing surgery to your journals, isn't it? So that is done. Let's now talk about the journal. I think everything else in it is fine. When I looked through yesterday, nothing else seemed to be damaged. So like I said, it's A4 size. This is brilliant. A really, really good way if you haven't made your own journal before. It's a very basic way. All you need is one size of paper, so you could even do an A5, but I've cut, some of my papers were already A4, others I've cut the 12 by 12s down, and then I've just made holes in the side. You can make those afterwards, but beware if you've got like photos or journaling, sometimes it's just unfortunate that a hole could go through someone's face or part of some of the journaling, so do be aware of that. I actually created mine whole and then put them together at the end. So the purpose for doing this journal, this mini book, was because we had a huge amount of snow, which is very unlike us here in the UK. The kids were off school. We had a few days of snow days. I don't know even if we've had that many snow days in a row since then. It was obviously before homeschooling, so all the kids were at home. It was so exciting and we had the best time. We had so much fun those few days. So it was the 22nd of Feb, I just saw that. So I am going to show you why I love this journal so much. So I did actually one of the reasons I wanted to do an A4, we took the most beautiful photos that week, and I wanted to keep some of them really large because as much as I love my Diddy photos, you don't always capture things quite so well as a large photo. So I've printed this one off A5, and I've kept it very, very basic. I really wanted the photos to stand out in this journal. Here I've cut more strips, but this time rather than using alphabet stamps, I've actually I've just written them myself. And then talking about walking to school. So Holly's school was closed that day. Louis, however, wasn't. So we walked Louis to school and then played in the snow afterwards. And I've used a rub-on there. You don't see rub-ons so much anymore. This is also a good way to use up your trimmings. I've got a piece of lace there with a little button that's come undone. It probably was in a bow at some point. I think I might just trim it, seeing as we're doing journal surgery today. Let's trim that. The next thing, we took a photo of each of our footprints, or we stamped each of our feet in the snow and took a photo. I love that, seeing the sizes. I think that's so cute. And then I have used, this was a rub-on as well that I've put on over some card, and I filled out our names. Thought that was super, super cute. And you may see there, I've actually sewn around the edge there as well. See what I mean about how simple it is? But it's I'm just so pleased with this. Again, we've got larger photos. I've actually used rub-ons here on top of photo. You could use a stamp as well, but just go careful because sometimes they do smudge, obviously depending on what type of ink. If you use something like Stays On, it's much better and doesn't smudge so much. And I've used the alphabet stamps there as well. And I've actually used this was in the Scarlet Lime kit here that I filled out. Wear outside your classroom. So we had to pick Louis up at lunchtime. He was very excited. Obviously we couldn't drive, so we all walked down to pick him up. And I've used this as part of my title. It's not every day you get to make snow angels. His little face there. Aww. It's so exciting when you don't get like big snow very often. And then on the way back, we all had a snowball fight. Look. I'm just so glad Aid was there with his big DSLR, having a whale of a time, capturing lots of photos. Sometimes they're not perfect. That one's not in great focus, but just that moment that Aid captured, it really, really doesn't matter. I've used here some really pretty embellishments. We've got like felt and beads. These were actually sticky embellishments that you could stick straight on. They've worked really well. More rub-ons. And I've actually gone around the outside with a colouring pencil. I found, if you have a look, the contrast there, the red against the craft and the black and around the outside makes such a difference. I'm so chuffed with how that came out. And I love doing things like just adding a little bit of detail there at the top. This one here, sometimes when you're doing a title, you have a title, but you don't have all the alphabets, especially when you're using up bits and pieces. So never be afraid to mix your alphas. It's absolutely fine. And I've used like a hole punch here, pretending that it was a torn edge. And we managed to catch Holly just about to throw, that was outside school, a snowball at Louis. That walk home was so fun. I'm so glad I've captured all these memories. And although back then I used to do mainly, that is not going to tie, 12 by 12 scrapbooking. I think this was in my early days of making like the little separate mini books or journals as we now call them. And I like having these little ones to look through as well. I don't often look through a whole 12 by 12, but having a little mini journal like this is just perfect. It really is. And it just makes you so happy when you look through. I used to also make them on all the school holidays as well, and just keep one for like the half term, Easter holidays. Never did Christmas until the last couple of years. I've never managed to capture a Christmas, but I would do all the other holidays. Here is some very simple layering, real mixed patterns here, which is something I shy away from these days. I tend to go a little bit plainer. But again, another little sweet moment there captured. I haven't got anything in that envelope, but I've just added it down the bottom because it's cute there. And here, this was Holly. She was creating a death ball, and she was making it for Aid with secret ingredients. I think she was putting twigs and leaves and things in it. And I've stitched on some chipboard buttons there. And again, I've got, I think this was a stamp of mine, Seven Gypsies. Do you remember those? They had great stamps. I need to get them out actually, because I have got some amazing stamps. And I've used that here. I love these really cute flowers and adding buttons. And then I've just put, oh, hobbies, scrapbooking. She did scrapbooking then, I forgot about that. Cheerleading and reading. What I want to be when I grow up on X Factor. That is so not Holly now. That's the complete opposite of Holly. I've printed this on a printer as well and just used a free font. As you can see, nothing fancy. I just printed that off. And I have gone around each of the edge of the little journal boxes with a pen. I like the colours on that one. You can see actually I've really taken inspiration from the photo, the green of the leaves and the orange on the wall. For this page really stands out well. Then we've got this one. Aid's captured this one of me. Do I like snow? I thought I didn't until today. I've really enjoyed the walks. I'm fooling around with you lot today. Maybe I do like snow after all. You very rarely hear me say that I like snow, because I really don't. But I do remember this week and we had so much fun. There is Louis making his snowman. The snow was obviously melting by then. I've got some of this leafy trimming here, which can be a bit problematic to stick, but as you can see, I've used staples. I've rounded off the corners here of this piece underneath and stuck it on at an angle. As you can see, it's not straight. And I've also used some little random stitches and scraped along the edge of my paper to get that distressed look, so you've got the white showing through. That's very handy when if you've got like a good white core of card. New other alphabet stickers as well. And this underneath is packaging. I remember using this. It might have been like the packaging of my alphabet stickers or something like that, embellishments, and I've used it on the page, and again used a distressed ink around the edge. He was so proud of his snowman. Holly didn't want to join in. And again, you can see how I've taken inspiration from the colours of the photo on the page, really helping that orange of the scarf to stand out there, and the orange of the snowman or Bobby's nose there. So this one here I've still got this alphabet stamp set here. It's actually a sponge set and they're really big. They are so cool. I love the way that I've kind of like ruffled up the lace here, added some staples and some buttons, and not actually talking about the snow, but actually talking about Holly. How I like the fact that she's never afraid to be different. She does her own thing, never follows the crowd, doesn't get bothered by what others may think, and these are very special qualities. And I say about not changing, age 9, sitting on her snow chair. So she obviously made a snow chair instead of the snowman. And she still is like that now. She's always been different. to the other kids. Here is one of Louis. Now this one I've actually made on a piece of grey board. You know when you get packaging in like, I'm just thinking I get packagings like this, mostly I think with kits, paper orders as well. And I've actually used that. This is one of my all-time favourite pages. I absolutely love this. I remember buying this. This is fabric. IKEA used to do cut-off fabric pieces. I was telling my sister the other day in IKEA actually, how, do they even still sell fabric actually on the big rolls? I don't even know if they do anymore, but you used to be able to buy the cut-offs, and I used to love doing that. So this was one of those, and then I've used a paper bag underneath. I think it may have been like a Costa bag. I can see this little snowflakes, and this was the handle that I've crossed over to make a heart and stapled in place. And again, using alphabet stickers and printing off on my computer the journaling and cutting out and going around the edges. That cheeky smile usually means you've done something or about to do something. Louis, what are you up to? That is so true. And he does the exact same smile now as well. He's always up to something, that kid. And he's nearly 21, or will be by the time this video goes out. Right, this is about Aid standing out, always standing out from the crowd. There he is with his big orange coat. Oh look, it's Aid in jeans. I can't remember the last time I saw Aid in jeans. Looks so pretty with all that snow. I just love this one. And then I've just captured, Louis was always the naughty one. Then I've done this one here. Aid throws a snowball which hits Louis on the side of the head. Louis laughs. Then Louis cries. Louis gets angry and hits Aid. Louis is sad. That was so Louis. So Louis would have been just 7 then, the snowball fight. Little Louis. This here, I remember this now, I put the holes on the wrong side. So rather than be really upset about it, I've just added some lace there, and it looks very pretty on both sides. And then we've just got a thing about home is where we woke up in the morning, looked out of the windows and got excited to see all the snow. You said it was like Narnia. This is where we wrap up nice and warm with hats and scarves, gloves and wellies to go out in the cold. This is where we go back in after playing in the snow and Mummy gives us hot chocolate. This is where Mummy has a hot bath and warm PJs waiting to warm us back up again. Our home is cosy. Oh, I love this. I'm so chuffed that I made this, and I'm pleased that I've given it a bit of TLC as well. But I really recommend you do that. These are just simple book rings. I've got loads of them actually. I use them like these. I hold my washi tape on the side of my little basket by my desk. You can pick them up really cheaply in loads of different sizes, even different colours. These are like antique brass. And they're very easy to make mini books and journals with. This is so basic. Like I said, you can do it on any size of paper. You could even have different sizes and pop your holes in the side with your book rings. You can obviously use string and ribbons, but the book rings do make it very easy to turn. And they're also very handy because you've got lots of space there as well. And it's easier if you want to take the pages out. I just love this little journaly mini book thing. I really do. It's one of my favourites I think I've ever made. And like I said, I love having the larger photos as well. I do tend to find that with the smaller or my journal pages, my photos have become smaller, whereas in these days I focused a lot on the photos. The photos were often the main part of my page. So I have changed there. But that's the other thing actually that's really nice to do when you look back on your old projects, is what did you do differently to what you do now? And maybe I need to start printing out some larger photos every now and then. And even just having, like in my smaller journals, just having a photo on one side and journaling and design on the other. That's something actually that I could take from this. So I highly recommend making a journal, decorating pages, popping them together, but also looking through your old creations, seeing what you did several years ago and thinking, oh yeah, I forgot I used to do that, like I've just done today, and maybe taking inspiration from that as well. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Let me know if you have, and let me know if you enjoy making mini books like this too. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.